Welcome back to Low Country Spotlight. Our next guest is Charles Miller. And let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Miller. He gained worldwide fame as a musical genius who spontaneously jumped in to accompany President Obama when Obama started singing Amazing Grace. And this was, of course, during the celebration of life of Clemente Pinckney, who was one of the Emmanuel Nine. He has a huge resume that begins with him playing piano at the age of 5 and being classically trained and so many other wonderful things. And we're so happy that he gets to come to the Low Country Spotlight and share his story. So welcome, Charles.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your background. You started playing at piano at age 5. Were you considered to be a prodigy at that time?
I wouldn't say a prodigy, but I come
Just
from,
a genius. No.
I come from a very musical family.
Okay.
My mother plays the piano and the organ.
Okay.
So that's just kind of how I got started, and it goes back, several generations as far as a lot of musicians and pastors in my family. So I started taking lessons at the age of 5. Picked up a few other instruments along the way, cello.
Okay.
And a few other instruments.
Oh, wow. Now, do you still? My daughter plays cello. Do you still play cello?
I still do.
Okay.
Still do.
Okay.
Still do. So it's been 30 years of music
Wow.
so far in my life.
Okay. Now, tell us how this whole event happened in terms of you being able to accompany President Obama, and spontaneously at that.
Yes, definitely. Well, I work at Fox Music House, and the Minister of Music at Emmanuel, Wayne Singleton, gave me a call when we were leading up to the services, asking for our ability to rent some equipment for to take down to the TD Arena. And I said, sure, no problem. And then at that time, he also asked me if I'd be able to help out playing with the choir and helping him out. And I said, sure, no problem. So it was kind of a dual role on that day. It was a very long day. It was a day like I'd never experienced before.
Wow.
Being there so early in the morning, and the day before, a lot of setup, a lot of security, media, and things of that nature, and emotionally, it was a very, very long and trying day.
Now, you're no stranger to Emmanuel, because did you previously play for them or play with their choirs at some point?
Yes, I used to play for one of the choirs there and for their early morning service that they used to have there. So many of the members that I know personally, several of the Emmanuel Nine I knew personally.
Wow.
And so had a lot of interactions with especially Reverend Pinckney, who was contemporary of mine, just about 8 or 9 years older than me, coming through the AME church. So he was one of those persons we looked up to very much. And the Reverend Dan Simmons, who was one of the victims as well, is a cousin in my family. Yeah,
there's still, our community, I would dare to say, is still suffering from that. Yes, there's still a lot of healing going on. How were you able to move from the perspective of knowing these people, them being, again, contemporaries and friends of yours, mentors in some states, I'm sure, to now having to provide service for them or to have to play music at such a solemn occasion? How were you able to separate those two things?
Very tough. I remember the night that the shooting happened. I was actually flying on my way back into town, and just hearing the news and how it was just coming down, and you didn't want to think the worst.
Yeah.
And so I'm up in the airplane, and my thoughts are all over the place. When I touch down and I hear some of what's being reported, and it just kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. Coming through the week and talking to different individuals and just being around some of the families, my own family as well, getting up to that day, it was a point where you just had to do what you do best to be able to help others, to cope with what has happened and to see the brighter side of things. Yeah,
and I'm sure that while we knew that the world's eyes were on our city, and the nation's eyes, certainly you had no idea that this spontaneous moment would occur and that you would play such a pivotal role in that. Tell us a little bit about how that whole part of it came about.
As we were sitting there and President Obama was speaking, and he was getting through his speech, and he got to the point where he said Amazing Grace a couple times, and he paused, and where the musicians were seated, we were above the choir, so I had to kind of lean over the balcony just to kind of look and see what was going on. And then he started singing, and at that point I said, oh, this is unusual. I said, okay. So I closed my eyes, said a quick prayer, and then
Oh, wow.
just came right
Oh,
on
I just
in.
want to put a pin in that, but go ahead. I love that.
I do nothing without starting in prayer.
Yeah.
That always starts me off on the right track.
Yeah.
And so just kind of went with it, and it was a quick it seemed like it only lasted maybe a few seconds.
Yeah.
And then you moved on to the next part of the service. So I had no idea what was going to come next.
Wow.
I was actually one of the last persons to leave the arena that day because I had to put my work hat back on. And
Okay. You had to
yeah,
give all that equipment that y'all
sent
sent over.
I had to put Fox Music equipment back
Yeah.
up, and I'm walking out the arena, and I'm walking back down to the aquarium where my car was parked, and I get a call on my phone, and it's someone said, "This is Abigail Darling from the Post and Courier." I said, "Okay." She said, "Were you the one playing for the president when he was singing Amazing Grace?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, that was me." She said, "Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but you're kind of a big deal on Twitter right now." And I didn't have my phone on me. I left it in the car that entire time. So I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
So she said, have you left downtown yet? I said, "No, I haven't left yet." I said, "I'm going to my car." She said, "Okay, can you do a quick interview?"
Oh, wow.
So I'll meet you at the Starbucks. So I did a quick interview, didn't think
Yeah.
anything of it. I went home, hugged my wife and my daughter,
Oh,
and
sweet.
I relaxed for the rest of the evening.
Yeah.
I wake up the next morning, and when I woke up, there were about 20 text messages on my phone
Okay.
and numerous voicemails. And I'm wondering, what's going on? My mom calls me. She said, "Have you read the paper this morning?" I said, "No." She said, "You might want to run and get a paper." So there's an article with me on the front page, and I said, "Okay." I said, "All right." I said, "Well, that's nice. That's cool."
Yeah.
Then I get a phone call from New York,
Wow.
and it's MSNBC calling me. Then I get a call from DC, and it's ABC, and I'm getting all these phone calls from all these media outlets
Yeah.
wanting interviews and stuff like
Wow.
that. And it was really overwhelming.
Yeah. Okay, we're almost out of time, but I just have to ask you this. I believe so much in divine intervention. Have you thought about how this moment played out and just compare that to, what you're doing now and this new trajectory that you're on? I understand that there's a documentary that you just finished filming, and it's all you were doing was doing what you were created to do, which is to give service. So very quickly, how would you respond to that?
I would say it all started with me at Fox Music House,
Yeah.
and how the Lord just kind of ordained me being there.
Yeah.
And so, being surrounded by such great and wonderful people.
90 years old, right?
Uh-huh.
Celebrating a 90-year anniversary,
yeah,
right?
coming up to it. And
Yeah.
so they put me in a position. The Lord would just have it that I was in that position.
Wow.
Doors just started opening all over the place by
Yeah.
me just submitting myself and putting myself in place to help and serve others.
Another great lesson for today. Thank you so much, Charles,
No
for
problem.
coming to talk to us. We've been talking to Charles Miller with Fox Music House. We'll have all of his information on our website. Don't go anywhere. We've got more Low Country Spotlight coming right up.